I was halfway through my first sip of coffee that morning when the sound of sirens jolted me upright, not from the television or down the street, but from my own fire truck's radio feed, blaring a call for inspection back up 2 blocks away. Only problem? I was still sitting in my driveway, and I couldn't move an inch. Not because of traffic or car trouble. No, because someone had pitched a party tent across my entire driveway like it was a carnival prize they'd won. There were balloons, streamers, even 2 folding signs duct taped to cones that read, "Reserved for VIP," and "Karen's Solstice Bash." And in the middle of all that chaos stood a woman in rhinestone flip-flops and a tie-dye fanny pack, arms folded, smirk plastered across her face like she owned the whole block. "You'll love this," she said, not bothering to glance at my uniform. "Maybe call an Uber like the rest of us civilians." That was the moment I knew this wouldn't just be another Saturday. This wasn't about inconvenience anymore. This was about power. And in our neighborhood, Karen Wexley held the HOA reins like a queen on a crooked throne. Now, I had seen plenty in my years as a fire marshal. Backyard fireworks over propane tanks, grills set up beneath wooden awnings, extension cords strung like holiday lights across wet lawns. But this was something else entirely. I stepped out onto the porch in full uniform, helmet in one hand, coffee in the other, staring at what looked like a pop-up wedding reception happening right on my property line. A DJ booth blared soft jazz, helium tanks sat next to an open grill, and there were lit candles under a plastic canopy that might as well have been a matchbox. My fire marshal truck was blocked in from every direction. Catering vans, fold-out tables, and a cake station featuring what appeared to be actual fireworks as part of the centerpiece. It wasn't just an eyesore. It was a lit fuse waiting to burn down the block. I walked up to her calmly, trying to keep the edge out of my voice. "Karen, I need to move my truck. I'm on duty." She blinked at me like I had asked to borrow her dog. "Oh, Liam, don't be dramatic. It's just one day. The grocery store's half a mile away. You'll live." "I'm not parking," I said, voice tightening. "I'm responding. You've blocked an emergency vehicle." She rolled her eyes and gave a snort that rattled my last nerve. "You do inspections, Liam. You're not running into burning buildings. It's a solstice party. Relax. Cleanse your energy." I took a long look around. Open flame under a tent. Helium tanks against a hot grill. Sparklers near dry leaves. I tried to explain. She smirked again. "Stop pretending you're the sheriff of the street," she said. "This isn't a crime. It's a vibe." "No, Karen. It's a crime. Blocking access to emergency vehicles isn't just a nuisance. It's a misdemeanor." But she didn't believe me. Not until I took out my phone and started documenting every single violation, every illegal flame, every trip hazard, every exposed cord running through puddles. Her assistant tried to get in my way, mumbling something about me impersonating a city official. I showed them the badge again. "Would you like me to call dispatch?" I asked. "Or should I let the fire speak for itself when it starts?" That was when things got serious. My radio chirped kitchen fire on Cedar and 10th. I was supposed to oversee the response. I turned to move, my truck still blocked. Catering van had double parked. DJ booth took the other side. The fuse inside me finally lit. I grabbed my radio. "This is Fire Marshal Liam Carter, reporting obstruction of emergency response vehicle at 621 Cedar Ridge Lane. Tent, vehicles, no egress. Requesting patrol backup." Karen lost it. She came storming across the lawn, sun hat flapping behind her like she was leading a parade. "You can't do this. You're ruining my party." "No, Karen," I said. "You escalated this. You made the choice." And then came the sirens. Not for the house fire, but for us. 2 squad cars rolled around the corner. Karen practically ran to them, waving her arms like she was directing traffic. "Officer, officer, he's impersonating a marshal. He's harassing my guests." Deputy Cole stepped out and gave me a nod like we were grabbing lunch. "Hey Cap, thought you were at drill duty." "Got grounded by glitter and fire hazards," I replied. Karen went pale. "Wait, you know him?" Cole just smiled and pointed at my badge. "Karen, this is Fire Marshal Carter. If he says your setup is a hazard, you better believe it." Karen tried to spin it. Said it was just a community gathering. Claimed she'd cleared it with the HOA board. But Cole was already writing her up. Fina's "If the Universe Wanted to Drive It Homey," a gust of wind knocked over one of her decorative banners. It fluttered against a candle, lit up like tissue paper, and the edge of the tent caught. People screamed. I grabbed my extinguisher, ran through the crowd, and doused it before it spread. The party was over. Guests began to leave. Neighbors started clapping. One old woman leaned across her porch and whispered, "Thank you." Karen, standing in the ashes of her party, just stared at me, jaw trembling. "You've humiliated me. You ruined a neighborhood tradition." "No," I said. "You did. I just made sure no one got hurt." That night, I got an email from the city. Apparently, Karen had sent in a complaint against me, claimed I'd harassed her event, impersonated an official, and tampered with decorations. The kicker? She used her personal Gmail. Didn't even try to hide it. I forwarded it to the city safety commissioner, attached my full report, photos, timestamps, witness notes. They responded in minutes. "We'll be auditing HOA event permits citywide." Things snowballed fast. Karen got suspended from the board. The HOA launched a financial audit. Turns out she'd forged over a dozen permits in 3 years. Misused community funds. Pressured the treasurer to sign blank checks. It all came out. We ran a community drill a week later scheduled months before, but the timing felt poetic. The designated checkpoint? Karen's front lawn. She protested, tried to block it, but the city denied her claim. Said the selection was random. She came out in a silk scarf and robe, pretending to cooperate. The hose from our hydrant brushed her SUV, lost it, grabbed the line, twisted the valve, and caught a geyser of water right to the face. The block roared with laughter. That afternoon, Deputy Cole pulled me aside. "You'll want to hear this. State Fire's launching an external audit." Apparently, Karen's name popped up in 5 other HOA complaints. The next HOA meeting, Karen tried to spin it again. Said she was being targeted for being a strong woman. But someone asked if she'd had fire department sign-off. She hadn't. They voted to censure her. 5-1. She left the Zoom call without a word. Weeks passed. My mailbox filled with thank you notes. One kid drew a cartoon of me spraying water at a dragon labeled Karenzilla. But Karen wasn't done. She tried to sue me personal defamation, emotional distress. The city dismissed it in hours. Said my actions were lawful, my documentation protected. And then, the real bombshell hit. The audit uncovered forged permits, missing funds, unauthorized events. A former treasurer came forward with voice memos. In one, Karen said, "No one ever checks this stuff unless they want trouble." The city held a public hearing. I testified. Neighbors testified. Karen tried to shift blame, but it was too late. They removed her from the HOA board permanently. The block changed overnight. People smiled more, talked more. For the first time in years, Oakwood Court felt like a real community again. One day, I was raking leaves when a neighbor jogged up, out of breath. Said Karen had been seen at an open house across town, asking questions about their HOA. She'd even given a fake name, Catherine Bellevue. I didn't report her, but I did send the HOA president over there a friendly heads up. Back at home, Mrs. Delgado, our new HOA president, organized CPR classes, monthly drills, community BBQs. She asked me to serve as advisor on the safety board. I said yes. A few weeks later, I got a plaque from the state for extinguishing more than just flames. Someone had scribbled beneath it, also for soaking Karen. I hung it on my door for a week. Not out of pride, out of peace. Because sometimes, the fire isn't in the blaze you see. It's in the fight to keep people safe when no one else will. And sometimes, justice wears a badge, not a crown. If you've ever had to stand up to a bully disguised as a neighbor, or seen your community held hostage by someone who thinks a clipboard makes them royalty, tell me your story in the comments. Would you have handled Karen differently? Or did she get exactly what she had coming? Hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who's ever been told to just park down the street. And remember, safety isn't just a policy. It's personal.